to victory lane. And time to celebrate with his team. Trying to cover up the steam blowing out at the base of the windshield. That engine got really warm. Let's go down to Krista.
Rick, the celebration in victory lane about to begin. There's not much tire left on this 11 Toyota. Denny Hamlin gets Coca-Cola. Come on out of the car, Denny. Welcome to the playoffs, Denny Hamlin, winner in New Hampshire. Denny, I'm going to get Wheels in here in a second, too, because you said, the first thing you said on the radio, this was a team effort. A backup car. You talked in the pre-race. I think you used the word, it's starting to feel desperation, urgency to make these playoffs. What's the feeling right now?
Yeah, it's just, it's a great feeling. I know we've been getting better and better as the year goes on, but definitely needed a win for the organization and for myself, and just kind of, get some momentum going. With the playoffs are coming up, so we got to get going. But really, this is awesome. We led a lot of laps for Safe Kids. FedEx donates $111 for every lap that we lead this season, so awesome for them to do that through the FedEx Cares program. Toyota, all their support, Coca-Cola, the Jordan brand. Just couldn't say enough about this race team. It's a team effort. For them to do the extra work to get us to that engine change before qualifying was key, and that pays off.
Wheels, I know you get to talk to your driver on the radio all the time, but now that he's standing in victory lane, you're the 11th driver in that 11 car going to the playoffs. Anything you want to say to him?
Relief. He did a good job. Everybody said we had a good chance today. He told me we didn't have to change much, and we were a little bit off base, but he made it work, and we executed today, and I'm really happy with these guys.
Yeah, I know the mantra for a long time there was all we do is win. You need a mantra. You need some sort of theme. What's it going to be for you guys this year?
I'm sure we got time now to figure it out.
They're in the playoffs, the 11 team. 30 wins for Denny Hamlin. He brings Joe Gibbs Racing back to victory lane here at New Hampshire. A 3-time winner. Congratulations, guys. Let's get this celebration going.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and roll into our post-race media availability for the 25th annual Overton's 301. We're joined by today's third place finisher, Martin Truex Jr., driver of the number 78 WIX Filters Toyota for Furniture Row Racing. Martin, unfortunate there with the tire and causing you to come down pit road. Walk us through the entire race from your perspective, please.
Yeah, it was we had a really good WIX Filters Toyota for most of the race, and led a bunch of laps, and then got that flat tire and kind of got off sequence, and whatever happened there after lap 200 or so, I think the VHT just was kind of wore off the track, and we started to lose our edge a little bit there, and we still had a shot, but on the last restart, we got the inside lane there. Restarted third. It wasn't the place to be, obviously. I think, the 11 started fourth, and that was really the place I'd like to be in. And, and then we didn't get a good restart on the bottom and lost a couple spots and had a battle back. And then just didn't quite have the speed at the end of the race that we had the first 200 laps. So all in all, it was a tough-fought day. We had to come from 24th at one point in the field, and just a hard-fought day. A good job by everybody, and a solid third-place effort. Just didn't have enough there at the end.
Okay, we'll open up for questions. Anybody in the room has a question for Martin, please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. Do we have any questions from upstairs in the press box for Martin?
No questions upstairs.
Okay, yeah. Martin, take care, bud. We're going to continue on with our post-race media availability here for the 25th annual Overton's 301 in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. And we're joined by today's runner-up, Kyle Larson, driver of the number 42 Target Chevrolet for Chip Ganassi Racing. Kyle put on an incredible display out there today en route to his 4th top 10 finish in 7 races at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Kyle, you passed a lot of cars out there today. Did you feel like if this race went on for a few more laps, you were going to get the 11?
I thought so. I was catching him a couple tenths a lap there, and then it seemed like when I got kind of closer, I don't know, within 4 or 5 car lengths there at the end, my lap times kind of evened off a little bit with him. I started getting too tight on exit, and I couldn't carry the speed on exit like I needed to. I'd gain a lot on him on entry, but I couldn't keep the power down and keep the front turning on exit there that last run. So, finished second, but, another hard-fought race. this is the third time we've had to start last and drove up to second. So wish we could have been in a spot better again, but really proud of my team and proud of the cars that they're bringing for me to drive each and every week. It's been a tough couple weeks through the tech line, so hopefully we make it through here, but and then have a good Tuesday at NASCAR, but we'll see.
Okay, we're going to send it upstairs to the press box, and then we'll come down here. Okay, we'll go to Dan.
Dan Gelson, the Associated Press. Kyle, what exactly did happen Friday, and how frustrating is it that these issues have been happening and keeping you from better success than you've been having?
Yeah, we just got in trouble for the shark fin there on the rear deck lid. I think with how fast we've been running and all that, NASCAR's kept a closer eye on our team in particular. What was going on with the shark fin wasn't anything different really than the other teams tinker with, just trying to maximize their aero performance in their cars. So we just got in trouble for it, so had to go to the back. Obviously I don't think it really affected us, which is a good thing, because the little stuff that we've gotten in trouble for so far hasn't seemed to affect the performance. So just got to keep working hard on the areas of our race car that are legal, and find some more speed that way.
Go next to Rob.
Kyle, congrats on that podium finish today. It literally was a hard-fought day coming from the back to the front. First of all, it seems like you were able to pick off spots pretty quickly in the first stage and then in the third stage. What was the adjustments that you guys had to make, considering the track changes from yesterday's cool conditions to today? And do you sometimes feel like you guys have a target on your back, literally, with what's going on lately?
For sure. It seems like we have a target on our back, but that's a good thing too. It means everybody's paying attention to us. And it's my 4th year, and I've never been in the position to where NASCAR and other teams are paying so much attention to our race cars. So that's a compliment to everybody at our race shop. But I don't remember the other question you asked. Oh, about passing lots of people. Yeah, in the beginning of the race, when the VHT was down pretty heavy there, I thought I could get underneath people fairly easily and quickly. And in that point of the race, there's a lot of give and take. So most everybody I got to just kind of let me by. Then towards the end, I kind of moved down out of the VHT and was able to run like your normal Loudon line and find a lot of grip and speed there. And seemed like nobody else could really run there like I could. They were all pretty loose doing that, where I could roll the middle and have good drive on exit. But the middle of my corners definitely got tighter throughout the day, and I think we just kept adjusting on that. I'm not sure what adjustments they were making. Probably, I think, talk about air pressure and wedge and all that. I don't really know which direction they go in with that, but yeah, they made the car better all race, and I was surprised there that last run I was able to pull away from the 78 by a lot. I thought he was the dominant car all day long. Anytime he was in front of me, he'd pull away a lot, and then he got to my back bumper there a couple times the last run. But once I moved down to my line that I liked, I started catching 11 and pulling away from Martin pretty fast.
We'll go next to Jeff.
Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. Kyle, I think a lot of fans, at least from what I saw on Twitter, were kind of annoyed with all the PJ1 VHT talk, and after it wore out, they were like, "Oh, this was all a bunch of nothing." But do you think that NASCAR and the track should keep going in this direction, keep experimenting to see, or do you feel like it wears out so quickly that it's not worth trying?
No, I think it's awesome. I was surprised at how well it worked this weekend. I liked the element of it changing quickly and wearing out, and then wearing out in different spots and stuff. It just adds an element to us that we have to adapt to. And in the past here at Loudon, you kind of just run the same line all race long. And today, everybody I got around was running somewhat of a different line, and I thought that was a really cool thing. And restarts were way more exciting. I thought you could run 3 or 4 different lanes, and a lot of times I found myself in a 3-wide situation, and it was fun. I normally don't not necessarily enjoy coming here, but it hasn't been one of my favorite racetracks because it is so one lane. But today I thought there was a lot of different lanes you could run, and it was all because of the PJ1 that they'd put on the track. So for sure, I think NASCAR should look at doing it at other racetracks. When we did it at Charlotte, I don't think it did. I don't think it was a good thing at Charlotte. So I almost think it's better for tracks that have a slower pace and slower mid-corner speeds already, because it's hard to get the courage up to enter and that stuff at those fast tracks because you don't really know how it's going to react. But here, you're going so slow in the corners, you're not going to crash if you go in it. So I can't think of tracks off the top of my head that you could run it out right now, but any track where I think the pace is slower, it would be a good thing.
Do we have additional questions for Kyle downstairs? About upstairs in the press box?
No questions.
Well, Kyle, thanks again for the show today, and good luck next week in Indianapolis. We're going to go ahead and get started here with our winners press conference here for the 25th annual Overton's 301 here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And we're joined by the crew chief of the number 11 FedEx Toyota, and that's Michael Wheeler, and the car owner, Coach Joe Gibbs. We're going to start with you, Michael. That car had quite a good hot rod there today. Held off a hard-charging 42 to take home the win. How refreshing is it for you to finally get in the victory lane here in 2017?
I would say very refreshing. A big sigh of relief. We've been working our butts off all year long, and this weekend's another one of those testaments where, we worked the primary car on Friday and had to double down and get to work. The guys in the team, guys in the shop, they really worked their butts off to get here. We weren't the fastest car all race long. We had a top 5 car. There was probably 1 or 2 guys that were a little bit faster, but we were in contention all day, and we made it happen.
Coach, you've talked about several times in professional sports where you have the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows, and you've been coming up from the bottom this year. Talk about finally getting over the hump and reaching victory lane in 2000.
Well, I think that's true. Pro sports, the thing you learn, it's so hard. And it doesn't matter what you did one year. Last year we had a great year, and this year we just been off some. I do feel like that in the last 5-6 weeks we've kind of worked our way back to having good speed, but haven't been able to make it happen for us at the end of races. So I think it says, you got to have a lot of respect for our sport. A lot of great teams out there. And certainly for us and for FedEx, we just got an awesome sponsor there that we just re-signed our deal at the first of this year with them. And as everybody here knows, it's one of the great things about our sports is our sponsors. You got to have a great sponsor to race cars in NASCAR. We're thrilled for them. Talked to Fred and Raj and everybody over there on the phone. Big deal for us, and the biggest thing I think for us is really all 4 of our cars had a good day. Daniel had his best finish at 6th, and obviously Kyle had a chance, and I think Matt would have had too.
Okay, we're going to open the floor up for questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless microphone to you. We'll start here with Matthew.
Matthew Werner with Race Pro Weekly. Mike, I know you're from Long Island, but this must feel like a home win to you.
Yeah, a little bit. I actually didn't realize until Ricky asked me in the victory lane about being a home track. It's one of the closest tracks I got to home. Raced here before you started paying me, which was good. I had to pay my way in here type of deal. Race modifieds here and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I didn't really quite realize it, but there's probably most of my closest friends are in this area. Hung out with a guy last night that I used to race late models with. So definitely part of me, was very happy for that part of it. Honestly, I was so happy that we got JGR a win, got Toyota a win, got FedEx a win, got an 11 car a win that I didn't even think about
the ties to being close to home. But obviously, yeah, a little something special here.
We're going to go upstairs to the press box for a question.
It's Nick Stoico with the Concord Monitor for Coach Gibbs. Historically, so your team's done well here in New Hampshire. Can you talk about what you like about this track and your thoughts on the playoffs no longer coming through here starting next year?
Well, actually, we love coming to Loudon. For whatever reason, this has been a favorite place for our drivers, crew chiefs. Denny, if you picked the racetrack, it would probably be here in Loudon where he would like to have his final race at. And we certainly, anything about this place has been good for us. Matt has done a good job and won here, Kyle. So I think for our whole team, we like coming here, and not only for the racing, but also for our sponsors. We have huge hospitalities when we come here. It's Northeast. A lot of our biggest sponsors this morning, I made the rounds talking to everybody. They love racing in this part of the country. It's a big deal for us. It's a big deal for all of us. Toyota, our partner, talked to Bob, I talked to Ed, David's here, all the players for Toyota. This is a big part of the country. It's a thrill for us. And for whatever reason, we've just done well here. We like it here, and all of our drivers have a confidence about it.
Okay, we're going to come back downstairs to Jim and then to Jerry. Jim, please.
JimMutterMotorsport.com for Mike, and I have one question for Coach. Kyle was in here on Friday and talked about how it's been somewhat frustrating to watch what the 78 has done when they're using a lot of the same stuff that you guys are doing. Do you feel, how do you view it? Do you feel it as you're trying to catch up to them, or do you feel like you have the tools, you've had the tools that you can produce victories like this, you just had to utilize them in the right way?
Yeah, there's moments when you're frustrated and there's moments you're actually motivated. They've been a great car for the last few years before they were with us, and now that they're with us, they're better. But at the same point, we've learned stuff from them too, watching them, seeing how they're doing, and they're beating the field, not just us. So when they beat us and they beat the field, it's like, okay, they're the best car. We've been getting closer and closer. If they won last week, we finished top 5. There's no shame in that. It's made us all work a little harder and made us realize what's most important. We're getting better every week, and I'm really happy about that. As much as we're climbing the hill, fortunately, we're starting to peak at the right time, and I think come playoff time, we'll be right there.
And for Coach, you mentioned Daniel earlier. You've had a lot of upheaval with Carl's departure, but he's had even more than expected with having been changed crew chiefs. He seems to be kind of hitting his stride now. I wondered if you could just talk a little bit about how you feel his development is right now.
Yeah, I think Daniel, for his first go-around and being at some of these tracks for the very first time, he showed a real patience in most of his races if you watch him. And then towards the end of the race, he seems to start moving forward, and that's what he did today. So I think as a rookie season, every week is a different week for him, and I think he's learning a lot, and so it's just a work in progress. I thought today was a huge deal for him to be able to finish 6th out there. This place is tough, and it's a hard racetrack to get around. I thought it said a lot about him.
Before we continue on here, let me introduce our champion of today's race, Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 FedEx Office Toyota. Today was Denny's 30th Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series win and 3rd here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Denny, I have to ask you, what is it about New Hampshire Motor Speedway that brings out the best in you and your race team?
It just seems like the flat track, short track program has been pretty good for us this year. We ran really well at Richmond. We ran really well at Phoenix, and obviously ran pretty well here today. So we executed nicely, made no mistakes, and capitalized when other guys faltered a little bit, and just everything right to win the race.
Okay, we're going to continue on here. We'll go to Jerry and then to Matthew.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net. First for Coach, Kyle was up front, obviously Denny up front, Matt was up front, and Daniel was battling like crazy out there. Can you comment on your team overall, and did you think, which one did you think would get to victory lane today?
Well, I think first of all, for all of our guys, we got off to a slow start this year. And I think the thing I'd like to say most about our entire group there, nobody ever, were pointing fingers or anything. Everybody said, we just got to go to work. And I think our guys back home working on the cars took it the same way. And I think everybody's been working extremely hard. And I'm hoping what's happening now is we're starting to hit our stride and get better and better down the stretch. That would be a big deal for us. I mentioned everybody back home working hard. I want to say thanks to everybody back there, JD at home and everybody. But I'm hoping that this gets us going in the right direction.
And also for Denny, your win today, the first of the JGR teammates. Jordan was up on the box happy. This has got to be an emotional moment for you too, getting this win and making sure that you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, we were positioning ourselves pretty good in the regular season points to try to get in the playoffs, but obviously this is a bonus to lock yourself in. Kind of gives you that sense of security if you do have a bad day or two between now and the playoffs. But we're trying to work our way up in the regular season standings as high as you can. You get bonus points the higher up you are. So, really that's the whole point of this whole stage and format is that it creates no off weekends. And so we've been treating every week as if it's a playoff race and giving it all we got. So we've been steadily getting better as the summer has went on, and we need to continue to stay on that trend of getting better.
Go next to Matthew.
Matthew Warnes with Race Pro Weekly. Coach Gibbs, I wanted to ask you, I know with Matt's departure at the end of the year, it's got to be heartbreaking. Matt has given you guys a lot of success, and with Eric coming into the future. And Denny, I wanted to ask you, what did you think about the VHT surface today on the track?
I thought it was good. I thought that the track changed dramatically throughout the entire race. I would love to see it at a lot of new paved racetracks, Kentucky, Texas, tracks, out of the preferred lane. If they could put it, in the higher lanes and force us to go up higher to search for it, I think you could create a lot of really good racing in the future. So obviously, NASCAR's easing into it. New Hampshire did a good job of listening to the drivers and where they wanted to put it. And I think it created a multi-lane racetrack today like really we hadn't seen here in a while.
Yeah, from Matt's standpoint, Matt really had a good car today. Felt like he had a chance. It was just making some decisions at the end there. But, really what I said earlier, that you're planning things out for years in advance. And we did not expect to be where we are here. We had a plan, and things kept coming up and kept changing. I mentioned Carl Edwards just being one of those, but all of a sudden things start changing. It puts you in a situation where you have to make a tough decision. We didn't want to do that. Certainly didn't want to discount. We didn't want to do something to upset Matt. He's been a great partner for us, and our drivers. Everybody said we don't want to race against him, and I think that's what's going to happen. So it was just a tough situation for us. Things changed, and then we got forced into making a decision.
We're going to go upstairs to the press box, and we'll come downstairs to Dan.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Denny, I think Wheels used the term relief twice in describing his feeling after the race. Your feeling, is it more elation or is it more relief as a big load of stress just got lifted off your shoulders?
Yeah, a little bit of that for sure. But I'm not going to think that it fixed everything either. I still think that we have some work to do to be, guys that contend for a win every single week. We're getting there. We really, really are getting there. But, we still have some work to do. Today was just a bonus. We got some bonus points. It was a good points day overall, and we got another victory. So all good things. But really, when it comes to Monday, we'll go to work on our next racetrack.
Go next to Dan, and then to Nate.
Dan Gelson, Associated Press. Danny, what do you feel about the changes that have undergone in Joe Gibbs this year, next year, and how does it change your role off the track as maybe a bigger leader or things like that, mentor thing?
Yeah, I mean, I've been around the longest. I've seen people come and go, and I've been feel like a good teammate to all my teammates. I like the dynamic that we had 2 years ago. I like the dynamic we have now, and I like the dynamic we're going to have next year. So we can adapt. Joe Gibbs Racing itself can adapt. We have some young talent that's coming in that's going to be very good and going to be the future. And they're going to be there long after I'm gone, and they'll be the team leaders. So you just try to set an example for them. Show the work ethic that it takes to be a winner on a weekly basis, and hopefully they that infectious type atmosphere bleeds into them, and they lead the team after we're gone.
Go to Nate, then to Jim.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Question for Coach. Another frustrating day for Kyle. A couple of speeding penalties after he led a lot of laps. Next year marks a year since his last victory, but it also marks he's the two-time defending winner of the Brickyard. Where do you think things stand for Kyle on that team right now?
I actually think Kyle, he's had a chance to win maybe 8 times. And so I think the encouraging thing there, and I heard him say it in an interview today, is that he feels like we're fast. We have the ability to win. He said that's a lot better than being in a situation where you're running 10th, I think is what he said. So, you hate it when something comes up like it did today, but we know that's part of our sport. And Kyle's going to become roaring back from that. I think he feels like each and every weekend, he's got a chance. And so I know that's kind of the way he looks at things.
Jim?
Jim Utter, motorsport.com. For Denny, I asked this of Wheels earlier. Kyle, when he was in here Friday, said that it was kind of frustrating to look at the 78 and how they run, knowing that they're using the same stuff you guys are. Mike talked about how it was sometimes frustrating, but also using it as motivation. I just wondered how you've looked at it.
Yeah, I mean, there's moments of frustration, but you also got to look at it as, they're setting the bar each and every week for speed. So it's making me become better. So regardless of what goes on with the cars and whether they're the same or exact same or not the exact same, I know that he's doing things inside the car that's making him better, and I'm able to see that now through data, and it's making me better. So I don't have any animosity towards those guys whatsoever. They're teaching us a lesson most weeks, but we're going to school on it. I mean, we're continuing to get better. I feel like we've closed the gap a little bit, but overall, I mean, we are one Toyota team, so it's important that we all run well. And on weeks where they dominate, it's up to us to look at the notes and look at the video and look at the data and say, how can we get there? So I'm relatively pretty proud of what that team's accomplished so far this year.
Any additional questions for our race-winning team? Matthew?
Question for all three of you. What makes Joe Gibbs Racing so successful at this track, especially at this track?
Well, I think it probably started with Tony Stewart many, many years ago. I watched him many times get around this racetrack, and the track's changed a lot over the years. The cars have changed, but just kind of being a student to the game and seeing what all he's done. And he was a great leader, and really, I think when I got to drive his car at Richmond in my rookie year during a test and kind of felt what he thought was a good short track package, I just kind of levitated to that ever since I got in a race car on a short track, and I think it's raised all of our games. Really the short tracks and flat tracks weren't really Kyle's forte. We worked together so much now over the last few years. He's really good, if not exceeded where I'm at. Matt's came in and been dominant at this racetrack, and so we look at him and look at his notes, and so I think it's just kind of a feeding off of all the good things that have happened here, and everyone's just working off of that and getting better.
Yeah, like what Denny said, once you get a package here that works good and you understand why, it's easy to kind of duplicate over time through different tire changes and aero changes. It might take a race or two to get it back, but once the drivers get a good feel for what it takes to get around here, get in the corner, get off the corner, you can go year in, year out and try to get that same feel for them again. Sure, a lot of other tracks, if they're at an intermediate and they know what it takes to make a car go faster on the track. Give them that feel next time you go back there is what you try to search for.
Yeah, I think it's just total team for us. These guys are the key because you got to have great drivers and great crew chiefs, but also the guys back home, our technical people work extremely hard. And so it takes all of that in this sport. It's hard to do. And so you got to enjoy each and every one of these wins because they're hard to come by. This year's a good example.
Go next to Jerry, and then we'll close it out with Dan.
Jerry Jordan, Kicking the Tires on that and PRN again. Denny, real quick, next week is Indy. Your thoughts on going into that track?
Well, as a race team, we've been pretty successful there over the last few years. The Kyle's won it 2 years in a row, and so we tested there and felt like we had a package that was pretty comfortable. So we'll kind of lean on that, and I look forward to it. I mean, one of the biggest events that we have all year is going to Indy. Everyone, when they go there, they bring the best of the best, the best motors, best cars. And so it's kind of a showcase, I think, for the teams as much as it is for the drivers.
It's also the 2-day weekend. Does that play a need for you guys at all?
Hallelujah.
Dan?
Denny, what happened out there with the lobster? And what are you going to do with the lobster?
I'm not going to do anything with it. I've seen it and touched it for the last time. I have a lobster phobia. I don't know why. I just don't like them. I cannot eat dinner if someone beside me is eating lobster. I can't look at it. And so, as far as I'm concerned, they need to put it back in the water and let it live.
Well, we do know there will be no seafood served on the plane this evening. But, gentlemen, congratulations on the great victory today, and good luck next week in Indianapolis.